They ordered Earth to kneel. Instead, humanity unleashed the Black Armada. The sky over Geneva turned black at exactly 3 in the afternoon. People on the streets stopped walking and looked up. Their phones fell from their hands. Their mouths opened in silent screams. The sun was gone, hidden behind massive ships that stretched across the horizon like floating mountains. Admiral Deho was in a meeting when the alarm started. He was 56 years old with gray hair and tired eyes that had seen too many battles. He commanded Earth's defense fleet from a base in Switzerland. The screens in his office lit up red. Every single one. His assistant burst through the door without knocking. "Sir, we have unknown vessels entering atmosphere. Hundreds of them." Maybe thousands. Deho moved to the window. Even from here he could see them. Giant ships, dark and angular, positioning themselves over every major city on the planet. New York, Beijing, London, Tokyo, Moscow, they were everywhere. "Get me the UN Security Council," he said quietly, "and someone find out what they want." Captain Minji was 28 years old and had never seen real combat. She worked on the bridge of the flagship Indomitable, Earth's largest warship. When the alien fleet arrived, she was running a routine training exercise. The training stopped. Reality took over. "Captain, sensors are going crazy," her tactical officer reported. "I count 4,000 alien vessels." "Wait, 5,000. They keep coming." Minji stared at her screen. Earth's entire fleet consisted of 400 ships. They were outnumbered more than 10 to 1. "Battle stations," she ordered, "and pray they're here to talk." For 3 days, nothing happened. The alien ships just floated there, blocking out the sun in some cities, creating permanent twilight. The world held its breath. Governments met in emergency sessions. Military forces went on high alert. Scientists tried to analyze the ships with every sensor they had. Nothing worked. The ships seemed to absorb all scanning attempts. Then, on the 3rd day, every screen on Earth turned on by itself. Televisions in homes, phones in pockets, billboards on streets, computer monitors in offices. Even old radios somehow transmitted video. Everything showed the same image. A being stood in the center of the screen. It was tall, maybe 3 meters, covered in armor that looked like metal fused with living tissue. Its face was hidden behind a helmet with glowing red eyes. When it spoke, the voice came from everywhere at once. Deep and cold, without emotion. "Humans of Earth, we are the Valthek Empire. We have ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. We maintain order. We enforce peace, and you are a problem." Ambassador Hyunwoo watched the broadcast from the UN Assembly Hall. He was 45, a career diplomat who had spent his life negotiating treaties between Earth's nations. Now he faced something far beyond his experience. An alien empire that considered humanity a threat. The Valtek continued speaking. "Your species achieved faster than light travel 5 years ago. Since then you have expanded aggressively. You have colonized 4 star systems. You have built military bases on 16 planets and moons. You grow too fast. You arm yourselves too heavily. You are dangerous." Hyunwoo clenched his fists. Everything the alien said was true. After developing FTL drives, humanity had exploded outward into space. They were excited, eager, building and exploring as fast as they could. They never thought about how it might look to others. 17 species before you made the same mistake," the Valtek said. 17 species expanded without permission. 17 species refused to follow galactic law. 17 species no longer exist. We gave them a choice. Submit or die. All 17 chose to fight. All 17 were destroyed. The being leaned forward, its red eyes seeming to stare through the screen directly at every person watching. "We are merciful. We do not want to exterminate you. We want to save you from yourselves. You will dismantle your military. You will surrender your faster-than-light technology. You will accept Valthek governance. You will become a protectorate species, allowed to live on your homeworld under our supervision." Silence. The entire planet seemed to stop breathing. "You have 72 hours to decide. Kneel and live, fight, and join the 17 extinct species in galactic history. This is not a negotiation. This is mercy. Choose wisely." The screens went black. The world erupted into chaos. Admiral Deho received the encrypted message 30 seconds after the broadcast ended. It was short, just 3 words and a location. "Black Armada, Omega." He stared at the message for a long moment. His hand started to shake. He hadn't heard those words in 20 years. He had hoped he would never hear them again. Get me a transport to Antarctica, he told his assistant. Immediately. And contact these officers. He sent a list of names. Tell them to meet me there. Authorization code Alpha Omega Black. The assistant's eyes went wide. Sir, that code, it's not in any database I can access. I know, Deho said. That's the point. 6 hours later, Deho stood with 24 other high-ranking officers in a military base on the Antarctic coast. Captain Minji was among them. She had received the same mysterious summons. None of them knew why they were there. A scientist approached them. She was small, thin, with white hair despite being only 50 years old. Her name was Dr. Ji-young, and she looked like she hadn't slept in days. Welcome, she said softly. You're about to see something that officially doesn't exist. Something that no government will ever acknowledge. Something we built in secret for the last 50 years. She led them to an elevator. They descended and descended. The numbers on the display kept climbing. 100 meters, 200, 500, 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers. The elevator didn't stop until it reached 400 kilometers below the ice. The doors opened into a cavern so large that Minji couldn't see the far walls. And floating in the center, held by magnetic fields, were ships. Hundreds of ships. Maybe thousands. They were black, angular, predatory. They looked nothing like Earth's regular military vessels. What is this? Admiral Deho whispered. Insurance, Dr. Ji-young replied. After humanity made first contact with alien probes 60 years ago, some leaders got worried. What if our neighbors weren't friendly? What if someone came to destroy us? So they created a secret program. Every nation contributed. Every government agreed. Build a hidden fleet. Use technology we didn't officially have. Prepare for the worst. Captain Minji walked to the observation window. Up close, the ships were even more impressive. They absorbed light instead of reflecting it. Their hulls were made of materials she didn't recognize. How many? She asked. 843 capital ships, 6,000 support vessels, and one more thing. Dr. Ji-young pointed upward. We built a weapon into the moon, the largest gun ever conceived. If anyone threatens Earth, we can fire it at their homeworld from here. Admiral Deho felt his heart pounding. Does it work? Everything works. We've been testing it in secret for years. The ships use fold drives that let them teleport short distances. Their weapons ignore conventional shields. They're powered by reactors that produce 10 times more energy than anything in our regular fleet. Dr. Ji-young smiled grimly. The Valthek think they're fighting primitives with basic technology. They have no idea what we actually built. How long until they're ready? Deho asked. They've been ready for 5 years. We just needed someone to give the order to use them. Deho looked at the other officers. He saw the same expression on every face. Fear, determination, and something else. Pride. Humanity had prepared. They had built this fleet in absolute secrecy, while the rest of the world went about their lives. They had reverse-engineered alien technology from crashed probes and old UFO incidents. They had done the impossible. Sound the alarm, Admiral Deho said quietly. Activate the Black Armada, and send a message to that Valthek overlord. He turned to face Dr. Ji-young. Tell him humanity has made its choice. We don't kneel. They ordered Earth to kneel. Instead, humanity unleashed the Black Armada ambassador Hyunwoo, stood in front of the camera, knowing that billions of humans and thousands of aliens would see this broadcast. He wore a simple black suit. No medals, no fancy decorations, just a man representing his species at the most important moment in human history. The Valthek overlord's hologram appeared beside him. The alien was huge, towering, intimidating. Its red eyes glowed with certainty. It had done this 17 times before. 17 species had stood where Hyunwoo stood now. 17 times the aliens had either surrendered or been destroyed. Human ambassador, the overlord said, your 72 hours have expired. What is your answer? Will you kneel? Hyunwoo took a deep breath. Behind the camera, he could see military officers waiting. Admiral Deho gave him a small nod. Everything was ready. The people of Earth have considered your offer, Hyunwoo said calmly. We discussed it. We debated it. Every government, every nation, every leader had their say. And our answer is no. The overlord didn't move for several seconds. When it spoke again, its voice carried a hint of something that might have been surprise. You refuse? You choose extinction over survival? We choose freedom over slavery, Hyunwoo replied. You came to our world with threats. You gave us an ultimatum before we even knew there were galactic laws to follow. You treat us like criminals for exploring space that nobody told us was forbidden, and now you expect us to surrender everything that makes us human. Your defiance is meaningless. We have 10,000 warships in orbit around your planet. You have 400. We have weapons that can destroy continents. Technology that is thousands of years more advanced than yours. Mathematically, you cannot win this fight, Hyunwoo smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of someone holding 4 aces in a poker game. You're right about our regular military. 400 ships, basic weapons, conventional technology. But you made one critical mistake in your calculations, Overlord. And what mistake is that? You assumed you were only fighting our military. You assumed those 400 ships were all we had. On Hyunwoo's signal, Admiral Daeho pressed a button. Across the planet, hidden doors began to open. In Antarctica, the ice cracked apart as massive launch platforms rose from beneath. In the Sahara Desert, the sand fell away from concealed facilities. Under the Pacific Ocean, underwater bases released their payloads. In mountain ranges, false rock faces slid open. In forests, camouflaged hangars revealed their contents. The Black Armada launched. The Valthek sensors registered the first ships immediately. Then more, then hundreds more. The numbers kept climbing. 800, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 6,000. On the bridge of the Valthek flagship, officers stared at their displays in disbelief. Their sensors showed ships appearing from locations all over the planet. Ships that hadn't been there seconds ago. Ships that shouldn't exist. The Overlord's expression changed. For the first time in the conversation, it showed emotion, confusion, maybe fear. "What have you done?" it whispered. "We prepared." Admiral Daeho's voice came through the communication channel. 50 years ago, we learned we weren't alone in the universe. Some of our leaders were optimistic. They thought aliens would be friendly, but others were cautious. They asked a simple question. What if someone comes to destroy us? The Black Armada ships rose into the sky, their black hulls barely visible against the darkness of space. They moved with precision, taking up positions around the Valthek fleet. "So we built these," Daeho continued, "in secret, with resources diverted from every nation on Earth. We took technology from crashed alien probes we'd been collecting since the 1940s. We reverse-engineered faster-than-light drives, energy shields, weapon systems. We combined it all with human engineering, and we built a fleet that officially doesn't exist." Captain Minji sat at the tactical console of the Nightbringer, one of the Black Armada's command vessels. Around her, the bridge crew worked smoothly despite never having flown these ships in real combat before. They had trained in simulators for years, running thousands of scenarios. Now it was real. "All ships reporting ready, Admiral," she reported. "Weapon systems, online and charged. Full drives functioning normally. We can teleport on your command." Admiral Daeho looked at the tactical display. The Valthek fleet was massive, spread out in a traditional blockade formation around Earth. They were confident. They thought they were invincible. "They were wrong, all vessels," he said calmly. "Engage." The Black Armada moved. But they didn't move like normal ships. They flickered like images on a broken screen, and suddenly they were somewhere else. Ships that had been near Earth's moon appeared inside the Valthek formation. Ships that had been behind the planet appeared above it. The fold drives let them teleport short distances, jumping from one point to another without crossing the space in between. The Valthek had never seen anything like it. The first alien dreadnought died in seconds. A Black Armada destroyer appeared next to it and fired. The weapon didn't shoot lasers or missiles. It fired something else, something that made the alien ship's hull simply come apart at the molecular level. The massive vessel broke into pieces, its shields useless against an attack that ignored them completely. Then the second dreadnought died. Then a dozen more. "Impossible!" the Overlord screamed as its formation collapsed into chaos. "Your technology level. You shouldn't have these capabilities. You're primitives." "We were primitives," Hyunwoo replied coldly. 50 years ago. But we learn fast, Overlord. It's one of humanity's most dangerous qualities. We see something once and we figure out how it works. We find a crashed probe and we reverse engineer it. We study alien technology and we improve on it. Captain Minji watched her tactical display as the battle unfolded. The Valthek ships were trying to reorganize, trying to respond to the unexpected attack. But they were too slow. They were used to fighting enemies that used conventional tactics. The Black Armada didn't play by those rules. Target their command ship, she ordered. 3 destroyer groups prepare to fold on my mark. 9 Black Armada destroyers vanished from their positions and appeared in a triangle formation around the Valthek flagship. They fired simultaneously. The flagship's shields held for almost 3 seconds before collapsing. The ship tried to move, tried to escape, but it was too late. Direct hit, Minji's weapons officer reported. Their flagship is crippled. Admiral Daiho opened a channel to all Valtech vessels. This is Admiral Daiho of Earth. Your flagship is disabled. You've lost 3,000 ships in the last 10 minutes. You came here to make us kneel. Instead, you're learning why you don't threaten humanity. The Overlord's hologram flickered. The alien was no longer in its command center. It was in an escape pod fleeing its dying flagship. This cannot be happening, it said. We have maintained order for 10,000 years. We have destroyed 17 species. 17. Maybe that's your problem, Yunwu said. You've spent so long being the strongest that you forgot what it's like to fight someone who's desperate. Someone who's innovative. Someone who has everything to lose and nothing left to fear. The Valthek fleet began to retreat, pulling back toward Mars. They were trying to regroup, trying to understand what they were facing. But the Black Armada pursued them, hunting them through space like wolves chasing prey. Dr. Ji-young watched the battle from Deep Site Omega, 400 kilometers beneath Antarctica. Around her, technicians monitored the performance of every Black Armada ship. The vessels were performing even better than expected. Years of secret testing had paid off. Doctor, one technician called out, the moon weapon is charging automatically. It's responding to the combat situation. Ji-young moved to that console. The weapon they had built into Earth's moon was activating, drawing power from reactors buried in the lunar core. It wasn't needed yet, but it was ready if the battle turned against them. How long until full charge? She asked. 12 hours. Once charged, we can target anything within 50 light years, including the Valthek homeworld. Ji-young nodded slowly. The weapon was humanity's final insurance. If the Valthek sent reinforcements, if more fleets came to destroy Earth, they could strike back at the enemy's home. They could make the cost of fighting humanity too high for any species to accept. Back in space, Captain Minji coordinated her squadron's attack on a Valthek supply convoy near Jupiter. The Black Armada wasn't just fighting, they were being smart about it. They were cutting supply lines, destroying logistics ships, taking out communication relays. They were systematically dismantling the enemy's ability to wage war. Target destroyed, her weapons officer reported. That's the last supply ship in this sector. Good, proceed to the next target. The battle continued for 18 hours. By the end, the Valthek had lost more than half their invasion fleet. Their ships were scattered across the solar system, hiding behind moons and asteroids. Afraid to engage, Admiral Daiho opened a final channel to what remained of the Valthek command structure. Overlord Krenath, he said, addressing the second-in-command who had taken over after the first Overlord fled. Your invasion has failed. You've lost 6,000 ships. Your supply lines are cut. Your fleet is broken, and... They ordered Earth to kneel. Instead, humanity unleashed the Black Armada. The Valthek fleet regrouped near Mars, hiding behind the red planet's moons like wounded animals seeking shelter. They had never experienced defeat before. In 10,000 years of maintaining their empire, no species had ever fought back successfully. 17 civilizations had tried. 17 had been destroyed. Until now. Overlord Krenath stood in the command center of his new flagship, staring at tactical displays that showed the grim reality. He had started this invasion with 10,000 ships. Now he had less than 4,000. The humans had destroyed more than half his fleet in less than a day. Analysis, he demanded from his tactical officer. The officer was young, barely experienced. Most of the senior staff had died when the first flagship was destroyed. Sir, their technology is beyond our understanding. The fold drives they use. We thought that knowledge was lost 3,000 years ago. The Andraxians developed it, but their civilization collapsed before they could perfect it. And yet humans have it? Not just have it, sir. They've improved it. Their fold drives work better than the theoretical models we recovered from Andraxian ruins. And their weapons. They're using Karathi molecular disruptors. The Karathi went extinct 5,000 years ago. Krenath felt something cold in his chest. They salvaged technology from dead civilizations? It appears they've been collecting crashed alien vessels and probes for over a century. Our intelligence was completely wrong. We thought they were primitives with basic space travel. We didn't know they had access to ancient technologies. How is this possible? We monitor all developing species. We prevent them from accessing dangerous knowledge. The tactical officer looked uncomfortable. Sir, Earth was classified as low priority. They only developed faster than light travel 5 years ago. We didn't think they could pose a threat. We didn't know they had been preparing for decades. Krenath turned back to the displays. The human fleet, this so-called Black Armada, had positioned itself between Mars and Earth. They weren't attacking anymore. They were just waiting, watching, like predators deciding whether their prey was worth the effort of finishing off. Captain Minji sat in the command chair of the Nightbringer, monitoring the Valtech positions. Her crew was exhausted from the battle, but alert. Nobody was celebrating. They had won the first engagement, but the war wasn't over. Captain, her sensor officer called out, "We're detecting communications between the Valtech ships. They're discussing whether to call for reinforcements. Can you decode the transmissions?" "Partially. Our computers are learning their language in real time. It appears they're debating whether to retreat or continue fighting." Minji nodded. "Keep monitoring, and make sure they see us. I want them to know we're ready if they try anything." Back. On Earth, Ambassador Hyunwoo met with world leaders in an emergency session. The UN Assembly Hall was packed with presidents, prime ministers, military commanders, and scientists. Everyone wanted to know the same thing: what happens next? "The Valtech fleet has retreated, but not left our system," Hyunwoo explained. "They're regrouping near Mars. Our intelligence suggests they're waiting for orders from their homeworld. Can we trust that they'll actually leave?" the president of Brazil asked. "No," Admiral Deho replied bluntly. He was attending the meeting via video link from his command ship. "They've maintained their empire through force for 10,000 years. Retreat isn't in their nature. They're more likely to call for reinforcements and try again." "Then we should strike now," suggested the Russian defense minister. "Destroy them while they're weak." "That would make us the aggressors," Hyunwoo countered. "Right now, the galaxy sees us as victims defending ourselves. If we pursue them and wipe them out, we become the threat." "The ambassador is right," said Dr. Ji-young. She had been invited to the meeting despite her project supposedly being secret. After the Black Armada revealed itself, secrecy didn't matter anymore. "We need to show strength but also restraint. We proved we can fight. Now we need to prove we're not monsters." "What about the moon weapon?" asked the Chinese premier. "You said it can target their homeworld. Should we use it as leverage?" "We already did," Admiral Deho said. "I told them about it during the battle. They know we have the capability to strike at their core worlds. That's one reason they retreated." "Can it actually do that?" someone asked. Dr. Ji-young nodded. "Yes, the weapon creates a focused gravitational pulse that propagates through folded space. It would take 72 hours to reach the Valtech homeworld, but yes, we can strike from here. The pulse would cause massive tidal disruption on any planet it hits. Earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions. It wouldn't destroy the planet, but it would kill billions." The room went silent. The weight of that capability hung in the air like a physical thing. "We built this to defend ourselves," Hyunwoo said quietly. "Not to commit genocide. We need to find a diplomatic solution." "Diplomacy requires both sides to talk," the British Prime Minister pointed out. "The Valtech came with threats, not negotiations." "Then we change the rules," Hyunwoo replied. "We force them to negotiate. We make it clear that fighting us costs more than talking to us." Admiral Deho's image on the screen shifted. "I'm receiving a transmission from the Valtech. They want to talk." "Put it through," Hyunwoo said. Overlord Krenath's hologram appeared in the center of the assembly hall. The alien looked different now, less confident. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something that looked like uncertainty. "Humans," Krenath said. "I am authorized to discuss terms." "Terms of surrender?" Hyunwoo asked. "Terms of ceasefire?" The word seemed to pain the Overlord. The Valthek Empire is willing to halt hostilities while we seek a diplomatic resolution. You came here to exterminate us, Hyunwoo replied coldly. You gave us 72 hours to surrender or die. Now you want a ceasefire? The situation has changed. You have capabilities we did not anticipate. Continuing this conflict would be costly for both sides. More costly for you than for us, Admiral Daeho interjected. You've lost 6,000 ships, we've lost 37. The math isn't in your favor, Overlord. Kranath was silent for a moment. What do you want? Hyunwoo looked around the assembly hall, seeing the faces of Earth's leaders. They had discussed this possibility. They had a list of demands ready. First, your fleet leaves our solar system immediately. Second, the Valthek Empire recognizes Earth as a sovereign territory with full rights to self-defense. Third, you provide us with information about this Galactic Council you mentioned. We want to know what laws we supposedly broke and who made them. And fourth, Hyunwoo paused. You tell us about the 17 species you destroyed. We want to know if any of them survived. If there are refugees, scattered populations, anything left. Why? Kranath asked, genuinely confused. Because if you wiped out 17 civilizations for the crime of exploring space, we want to know if we can help any survivors. And we want to make sure it never happens again. The Overlord was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. These terms are acceptable for a ceasefire, but they must be approved by the Valthek High Council. That will take time. You have 1 week, Admiral Daeho said. 1 week to get approval and begin withdrawing your forces. If you're still in our system after 7 days, we'll assume you're preparing another attack and respond accordingly. Understood. I will relay your terms to the High Council. The transmission ended. The assembly hall erupted in conversation. Some leaders were celebrating, others were worried. Everyone understood that this was just the beginning. Captain Minji watched the Valthek fleet through her sensors. They were holding position, not advancing, not retreating. Waiting. Do you think they'll actually leave? Her tactical officer asked. I don't know, Minji admitted. But we'll be ready if they don't. Days passed. The tension was unbearable. Earth's population couldn't see the alien fleet anymore, but they knew it was there. Hiding behind Mars. Watching. Waiting. Every news channel showed updates. Every social media platform buzzed with speculation. Would the aliens leave? Would they attack again? What would happen next? On the 5th day, something changed. A massive ship entered Earth's solar system. It was huge, bigger than anything the Valthek had brought. But it wasn't Valthek. The design was different, elegant, crystalline, reflecting light in strange ways. Admiral Daeho's communication systems lit up. This is Ambassador Verath of the Kellen Concordat. I represent the Galactic Council. I request permission to approach Earth for negotiations. Hyunwoo looked at Admiral Daeho. Did you know about this? No. But if they represent the Galactic Council, we should hear what they have to say. Bring them to Geneva, Hyunwoo decided. Let's find out what the rest of the galaxy thinks about all this. The crystalline ship landed outside Geneva 3 hours later. Ambassador Verath emerged, tall and graceful, looking like living crystal with light flowing through its body. It was accompanied by a small delegation of various alien species, none of them Valthek. Hyunwoo met them in the same assembly hall where the Valthek had delivered their ultimatum. But this time, the atmosphere was different. The alien ambassador bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. Humans of Earth, Verath said in perfect English. I apologize for the Valthek's actions. They acted without council approval. They ordered Earth to kneel. Instead, humanity unleashed. The Black Armada Ambassador Verath of the Kellen Concordat stood in the UN Assembly Hall, surrounded by human leaders who were trying to understand what this new alien presence meant for Earth. The crystalline being seemed to glow with an inner light, its body translucent and beautiful in a way that was completely unlike the threatening appearance of the Valthek. Let me explain the true situation, Verath said, its voice like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. The Galactic Council consists of 43 member species. The Valthek are one of them. For the last 8,000 years, they have held the position of chief military authority. This means they control all matters related to defense, security, and first contact with developing species. Ambassador Hyunwoo listened carefully. And they abused that authority? We are beginning to suspect so. The Valthek reported 17 species as dangerous expansionists who had to be neutralized for the safety of the galaxy. We accepted their judgment because we had no reason to doubt them. They were the military experts. We focused on trade, culture, science. We let them handle the difficult decisions about security. You let them commit genocide, Admiral Daeho said bluntly, his image appearing on screens around the room. 17 times. Varath's light dimmed slightly, a sign of shame or sadness. Yes, we did. And we must live with that failure. But your survival has opened our eyes. If you could defeat a Valthek invasion fleet, then perhaps those 17 other species could have as well. Perhaps they were never really threats. Perhaps the Valthek simply destroyed potential rivals. Why are you telling us this? Hyunwoo asked. Because the galaxy needs to change. The Valthek have held power for too long. They have become arrogant, cruel, quick to use force instead of diplomacy. Your defiance proves that their way is not the only way. It proves that younger species can contribute to galactic civilization without being conquered first. Captain Minji, attending the meeting from her ship, spoke up. What do you want from us? I want you to join the Galactic Council. As full members, not as a Valthek protectorate. I want you to tell your story to all 43 member species. I want them to see that the Valthek can be defeated, that their military dominance is not absolute, and I want to work together to prevent this from ever happening again. And if the Valthek refuse, Admiral Daeho asked, then the Council will be forced to choose sides. And I believe most species will choose yours. The meeting continued for hours. Varath explained the structure of galactic politics, the various species and their relationships, the complex web of alliances and rivalries that had developed over millennia. It was overwhelming but also enlightening. Humanity was not alone in fearing the Valthek. Many species had grown tired of their dominance but lacked the power to challenge them, until now. Dr. Ji-young joined the meeting via video link from Deep Sight Omega. Ambassador Varath, I have a question about the technology we used. You mentioned that our fold drives were based on ancient Andraxian designs. How did crashed alien vessels end up on Earth? Varath's light brightened with what might have been amusement. That is an interesting story. Earth sits at the intersection of 3 ancient trade routes. Thousands of years ago, before humans developed civilization, this region of space was heavily traveled. Ships crashed. Probes malfunctioned. Debris fell into your planet's gravity well. The Valthek should have cleaned it all up, but they were negligent. They assumed no intelligent species would evolve on Earth for millions of years. They were wrong, Dr. Ji-young said. They were wrong, Varath agreed. And you took advantage of their mistake brilliantly. You collected technology from 6 different extinct civilizations and combined it in ways none of them ever imagined. Your Black Armada is not a copy of anyone's fleet. It is something new, something uniquely human. Is that good or bad? Hyunwoo asked. That depends on what you do with it. While the diplomatic discussions continued on Earth, Overlord Krenath faced a very different situation near Mars. He had sent his report to the Valthek High Council, explaining the defeat, requesting guidance. The response had been harsh. You failed, the High Commander told him via secure transmission. You lost 6,000 ships to primitives. You have disgraced the Empire. They are not primitives, Krenath protested. They have technology that rivals our own. They have weapons we cannot defend against. They have a fleet we did not know existed. Then you failed in intelligence gathering as well as combat. The High Council has made its decision. You will not receive reinforcements. You will retreat from the Earth system immediately, and when you return home you will face trial for incompetence. Krenath felt his world collapsing. Trial? I followed standard protocols. I gave them the same ultimatum we have given 17 species before them, and 16 of those species died easily. The 17th required more effort but was still destroyed. You are the first commander to suffer defeat from a developing species. That failure cannot be overlooked. What about the humans? Are we abandoning attempts to control them? The Kellen Concordat has interfered. They have offered the humans council membership. The political situation is complicated. We cannot simply destroy them now without starting a wider conflict. For the moment, we retreat. We regroup, we plan, but this is not over. The transmission ended. Krinath stared at the empty hologram projector, feeling something he had never experienced before. Fear. Not fear of humans, though they had certainly earned his respect. Fear of his own people. The Valthek did not tolerate failure. He had lost more ships in one battle than the Empire had lost in the last 1,000 years combined. "Sir," his tactical officer said quietly, "we have new orders. Begin retreat from the Earth system." "I know," Krinath replied. "Prepare the fleet for departure, and send a message to the human admiral. Tell him we acknowledge their victory, and warn him that this conflict may not be truly over." The message reached Admiral Deho within minutes. He read it carefully, then shared it with Ambassador Hyunwoo and the other human leaders. "It's a warning," Hyunwoo said. "The Valthek are leaving, but they're not giving up." "Let them try again," Admiral Deho replied. "We'll be ready." Captain Minji watched the Valthek fleet begin its departure from her position aboard the Nightbringer. The alien ships formed up in organized groups, checked their systems, and then activated their faster-than-light drives. One by one they vanished, leaving Earth's solar system. "All Valthek vessels have departed, sir," her sensor officer reported. "The system is clear. Maintain alert status," Minji ordered. Just because they left doesn't mean they won't come back. On Earth, celebrations erupted in every city. The alien invaders were gone. Humanity had won. People danced in the streets. Flags waved. Music played. For the first time in a week, the sun wasn't blocked by alien warships. But in the UN Assembly Hall, the mood was more cautious. Ambassador Hyunwoo met with Vareth and other Galactic Council representatives to discuss Earth's future. "What happens now?" Hyunwoo asked. "Now comes the difficult part," Vareth replied. "You must be formally inducted into the Galactic Council. This requires a vote by all member species. The Valthek will oppose your membership. Some of their allies may as well. But I believe we have enough support to approve your application." "What does membership involve?" "Responsibilities and benefits. You will have access to the Galactic Trade Network, advanced technology, scientific knowledge. You will be protected by council laws that prohibit member species from attacking each other. You will have a voice in galactic governance. And the responsibilities? You must follow council laws. You must contribute to collective defense. You must respect the territories of other member species. And you must agree to mediation in any disputes rather than immediately resorting to warfare." Hyunwoo considered this carefully. "The Black Armada stays ours. We will not disarm. No one expects you to. Every council species maintains their own military. The Valthek have simply been the largest and most aggressive. Your fleet will help balance that power." "What about the moon weapon?" Dr. Ji-young asked. Varath's light flickered uncertainly. "That weapon concerns many species. A gun that can target homeworlds from light years away is frightening. We would ask that you agree never to fire it except in defense of Earth itself, not in offensive operations, not in minor disputes. Only if your homeworld is directly threatened with destruction." "That was always the plan," Dr. Ji-young replied. "We built it as a deterrent, not as a weapon of conquest." "Then we have no objection to you keeping it." Admiral Daiho had been quiet during much of the discussion, but now he spoke. "What about the 17 species the Valthek destroyed? You said you wanted to know if any survived. What if we find refugees?" Varath's light brightened. "Then we help them. We give them worlds to settle. We support them. We try to make up for our failure to protect them. We want to be part of that effort," Hyunwoo said firmly. "If there are survivors out there, humans will help find them and help them rebuild. That is a noble commitment. The Council will appreciate it." The negotiations continued for days. Slowly, carefully, the framework for Earth's membership in the Galactic Council took shape. There were compromises on both sides. They ordered Earth to kneel. Instead, humanity unleashed the Black Armada. 3 months after humanity joined the Galactic Council, Captain Minji stood on the bridge of her ship as it approached a distant star system. She had been promoted to commander and given command of the diplomatic vessel Pathfinder. Her mission was to search for survivors of the 17 species the Valthek had supposedly destroyed. The system they were entering had once belonged to a species called the Torani. According to Valthek records, the Torani had been wiped out 200 years ago for unauthorized expansion. But records also showed that some Torani ships had escaped the initial attack. They might still be out here somewhere hiding, afraid to reveal themselves. "Approaching the 4th planet, Commander," her navigation officer reported. Sensors detect artificial structures on the surface. Some are damaged, but some appear intact. Minji studied her displays carefully. The planet looked abandoned. Cities stood empty. Farms had gone wild, but there were signs of recent activity. Power generators still running. Lights in some buildings. Someone was down there. Open a communication channel, she ordered. Broadcast on all frequencies. This is Commander Minji of Earth, representing the Galactic Council. We mean you no harm. We are searching for survivors of the Tarani people. If you can hear this message, please respond. Silence. Minutes passed. Then finally a weak signal came through. Earth? The voice was uncertain, speaking in broken galactic standard language. We have heard of Earth. You defeated the Valthek? Yes, we defeated their invasion fleet, and we want to help any species they harmed. Another long pause. You are not Valthek? This is not a trick. No trick. We are human. We only joined the galactic community 3 months ago. We had no part in what the Valthek did to your people. Slowly, cautiously, the Tarani revealed themselves. There were only about 50,000 left, scattered across 3 hidden colonies. They had been running for 2 centuries, hiding from Valthek patrols, living in fear of discovery. Learning that the Valthek had been defeated brought some to tears. We thought we were the last, an elder Tarani told Minji when they met face to face. We thought everyone else was dead. You may not be alone, Minji replied gently. We're searching for survivors of all 17 species. We found 3 groups so far. The Council is prepared to help all of you resettle, rebuild, and rejoin galactic civilization. The Council allowed the Valthek to destroy us. I know, and that was wrong. But things are changing. Humans have joined the Council and we're working to make sure this never happens again. The Tarani were skeptical at first. They had every right to be. But as Minji's crew helped repair their infrastructure, delivered medical supplies, and shared technology, trust slowly began to form. Back on Earth, Admiral Daiho oversaw the expansion of the Black Armada. 3 months of peace had given them time to build more ships, train more crews, and integrate some galactic technology with their existing designs. The fleet now numbered over 1,000 capital ships, but Daiho knew peace might not last. The Valthek had retreated, but they hadn't surrendered. Intelligence reports suggested they were rebuilding, preparing for something. The question was what? Admiral, his intelligence officer reported during a morning briefing, we've detected unusual Valthek fleet movements near the border of Council space. They appear to be massing forces. How many ships? At least 20,000. Possibly more. They're gathering in systems we thought were uninhabited. Daiho studied the star charts carefully. Are they preparing to attack Earth again? Unknown, sir. But the positioning suggests they might be planning something against multiple Council species simultaneously. Alert Ambassador Hyunwoo, and send a warning to the Galactic Council. If the Valthek are planning another war, everyone needs to be ready. Ambassador? Hyunwoo received the warning while attending a council session on the station Kepler 5. He immediately called for an emergency meeting of all member species, representatives. The Valthek are massing military forces. Along the border, he announced. Human intelligence estimates at least 20,000 warships. We believe they may be planning coordinated attacks against multiple council members. The chamber erupted in worried conversation. Ambassador Verath called for order. This is troubling news, Verath said. But do we have proof of hostile intent? The Valthek are allowed to move their military forces within their own territory. They're allowed to move forces. Hyunwoo agreed. But this level of mobilization suggests preparation for war, not routine maneuvers. The Valthek representative stood, his armor gleaming under the chamber lights. The human spreads fear and paranoia. Our fleet movements are purely defensive. We are concerned about the destabilizing influence of younger species who possess dangerous technology. You mean you're concerned about losing control? Hyunwoo shot back. You ruled through fear for millennia. Now you've discovered that fear has limits, and you can't accept it. Careful, human. Your species has been part of this council for 3 months. We have been members for 8,000 years. You do not lecture us. Maybe someone should have lectured you a long time ago. Maybe if they had, 17 species would still exist. The argument was interrupted by an urgent transmission. One of the Council's outer monitoring stations was under attack. Valthek ships had crossed into Council territory and were destroying the facility. So much for defensive fleet movements. Yenwu said coldly. Varath's light flared brightly. This is an act of war. The Valthek have violated council law by attacking council property. I call for an immediate vote to authorize military action. The vote was swift. 38 species voted to authorize defense against Valthek aggression. Only 3 Valthek allies voted against. The rest abstained. Humanity's Black Armada is closest to the attack site, Varath announced. Admiral Deho, can you respond? We're already moving, Deho replied through the communication link. I dispatched ships as soon as we detected the attack. They'll arrive in 2 hours. The Council authorizes you to use necessary force to defend Council territory and citizens. Understood, Commander. Minji received the recall order while still with the Tirani survivors. Her diplomatic mission was over. Now she was needed for war. I have to go, she told the Tirani elder. But other human ships will continue helping you. You're not alone anymore. Will you be safe? The elder asked. I hope so. But even if I'm not, this is important. The Valthek tried to destroy my species just like they destroyed yours. We won't let them do it again. To anyone. The Pathfinder joined the Black Armada fleet racing toward the attack site. 75 human ships moving at maximum faster than light speed ready to fight. They arrived to find the monitoring station in ruins. The Valthek had destroyed it completely, killing all 300 personnel aboard, but the attackers were still there. A fleet of 200 Valthek warships waiting. They're not running, Minji's tactical officer observed. They want to fight. Then we'll give them one, Admiral Deho replied over the fleet channel. All ships, battle formation Alpha. Prepare full drives. On my command. The Black Armada ships flickered and vanished, reappearing inside the Valthek formation using their teleportation technology. The enemy tried to respond, but they were too slow. Human weapons fired and Valthek ships began dying. This battle was different from the first one. The Valthek had studied the recordings from Earth's defense, analyzed human tactics, prepared countermeasures. They had new shields designed to resist molecular disruptors. They had improved sensor systems to track full drive jumps, but humanity had been studying too. 3 months of access to galactic technology had allowed them to upgrade their weapons, improve their drives, and develop new tactics. The battle lasted 6 hours. Both sides took casualties. The Black Armada lost 12 ships. The Valthek lost 160. In the end, the surviving Valthek vessels retreated back across the border. Secure the area, Admiral Deho ordered. Search for survivors from the station, and prepare for follow-up attacks. This wasn't a random raid. This was a test. A test of what? Minji asked. A test of Council resolve. The Valthek wanted to see if we would actually fight back. If the Council would support military action. Now they have their answer. Over the next 2 weeks, Valthek forces launched attacks on 6 more Council facilities. Each time, human ships responded. Sometimes they were joined by vessels from other Council species. Slowly, an alliance was forming. Species that had feared Valthek power for millennia were finding the courage to resist. Dr. Ji-young worked around the clock at Deep Site Omega, coordinating technology sharing with allied species. Earth's full drives, molecular disruptors, and advanced sensors were being integrated into the fleets of 15 other Council members. In exchange, humans gained access to alien medical technology, power systems, and manufacturing techniques. We're not just defending ourselves anymore, she told Admiral Deho during a strategy meeting. We're helping others defend themselves. We're changing the balance of power in the galaxy. Is that good or bad? Deho asked. That depends on what comes next. What came next was a formal declaration from the Valthek High Council. They announced their withdrawal from the Galactic Council, claiming it had become corrupted by dangerous younger species.